the end of a busy day. I don't know, by now it might be Monday morning. I set out to do this late Sunday evening. I went to the 10 o'clock Mass where I sing in the choir. I had 2 roses with me in a bag that I brought into the sanctuary where the tabernacle is, and I asked God to bless these roses that were from my garden that I'm going to give to 2 patients. An old friend, a newer friend. And once again, when I got to the rest home after, one of the intended receivers of the flowers was not in the room. And an attendant mentioned that she was at community hospital. So I stopped there, and she was not listed on the books that it'd be in there. And I went down to the next rest home that I was going to visit, and also to give her the other rose. 2 ladies, a bit of a comfort to me. Her name is actually Beverly, and might be more like my last stop after X number of hours. And she just always makes me feel relaxed, and we chat a while and play with her little dog Jill that her daughter Darcy brings in, and I have other patients there that are dear to me too, including Reuben and George, and this is a couple from Indiana that the husband shares a room with George, and I visit them also. And this is Sarah Murnaghan, who just received the double lung transplant, and thanks to her mother, that law, which should have been changed before, allowing people under the age of 10 to be on the adult list if their need was great. Now nowadays the science of transplanting lungs have grown where they literally fit them to fit the lung capacity. CF patients generally have a smaller space where the lungs will fit in no matter how old they are, and they do not breathe like normal people do with the expansion and contraction. And and Cassandra, I felt that Sarah was going to have her transplant. Sometimes you know these things, and there's always concern that once you have it, but she had it about a week or more ago, but she's still in critical care in the intensive care unit, but she's improving all the time. But there's always a period of wondering whether or not the transplant will be rejected, and so those who prayed for her that should have it, pray that they're not rejected. Now Cassandra, who had a lung transplant 10 years ago, a month ago was in very dire shape, and at that time she supposedly needed a transplant or she was going to die, and she was in a lot of pain. And recently I received an email where the last week, she was free of pain, no longer is in dire need of a double lung transplant. There's still work to be done on the lungs, but they do not have to be taken out and replaced at this time. So her condition has improved remarkably. And the letter she sent was a thank you letter for all those who prayed for her. Keep on praying for all the others who are on the list. And I've been involved with cystic fibrosis patients for a long time. I met a young lady when she was 13. She wanted to see the lung of Cyprus for some reason. She met me and I shared Lord's water with her, and she improved at that time. And later, when she was 21, she's a bit on the wild side, and she contacted me, and we were in relatively close communication. For years I was her mentor and encouraged her creativity. She blossomed out to be a wonderful poet and a writer. And I did a prayer painting for Carly where I worked on it for 3 weeks, and it was a moon gate with the lone cypress in the background. And the last few weeks, in addition to working on my shirt, which was offered up as a prayer, and I was composing a song about Mother Mary, please intercede for all your children in need, children of all colors, children of all creeds. I truly believe, and I believe Pope Francis believes that too, that the dominion of God is far greater than any one specific religion. He's a wonderful Catholic, but he's leading the church to open up their minds and hearts. And there are those who aren't totally happy with that. And they weren't happy with Pope John Paul in Vatican II. And some of them didn't accept that. Kind of didn't want change. And they were protecting terrible things and attitudes that should not have been protected. They should have been changed immediately instead of pushing them under the cover, under the carpet. And it has led to the decline of the church in many areas. And they felt betrayed by the hierarchy. And they there's a concept, when you're into the Bible at all, there's a great emphasis on God's love, light, and truth. And truth is a paramount part of that. And truth was absence there for a while. And a certain amount of hypocrisy that still exists today. And there's a bit of a schism in the church where there are those who accepted Vatican II and those who haven't. Well, may they all accept it. And I've also been working on this painting here, and it's of the lone cypress. And when I get done, I'd like to put a song I wrote called Vessels of the Living, which has to do with how when one gives or offer up their organs for a donor, it saves lives. And I had an understanding thinking about it that when people do that, they really, in essence, almost become like God's disciples. And I say that for this reason, when Christ told the apostles to go out and heal the lame, heal the blind, and so forth. Well, this is what organ transplants do. It allows people to breathe again, to see again, and to function in the service of God the way that they have the potential of doing. And I'm not sure just how many different parts of the body that are used, but there are a great number of them. And they bring healing and blessings to everyone. And I found, I believe, in among those who are strong in the spirit, they're more prone to give of themselves that way, and they almost have this inherent understanding that they're reaching out and helping their fellow man. And some people don't have a legacy. They may make lots of money, but what? Relatives will fight over that? Well, that doesn't amount to hell beans. But when you leave something that gives life to people, that is a true gift. And then the person who does that, and sometimes when parents do that when their children pass on, well, their children live on in the new person that I call Vessels of the Living. The song that I wrote, I have it on my homepage, www.lightsforart. Had people who have received transplants help me with that. Carly Metcalf, Susie Schultz, there's a neat young man from England, Chris Cook. He had a heart problem. I'm not sure whether he had received one or whether he could possibly be in dire need of one. But they all gave me specific ideas, and I coupled them together and made one song. And I enjoyed it with like an international effort. I've traveled throughout the world, and I have a true appreciation of people of all religions. There are good people of many faiths out there that are just wonderful people. And they have a great relationship with God. Referring to God the Father. Those of us who have get to know Christ are fortunate. We can grasp the reality of the understanding of what he had to say when he was on this earth. Like, I love the Bible, and I particularly love what Christ wrote. And I have a Bible that whatever he wrote is inscribed and read. I do random Bible reading every morning before I go to church, and I go to church every day, and I lead the rosary after that. And in countries where the rosary and appreciation of Mary as being Mother of Jesus, that's where we're getting our priests from. They just have more of this understanding of the reality of Christ being on this earth as a human being and still being, God the Son. And he came with a message. And the message was different than the messages of the prophets in a way. I mean, he was the one that the prophets foretold that would come. And his message should be heeded. I have a mission statement of life of sharing his commands of love, and especially the new one, to love God as Jesus loved you. And that's unconditional. And that he forgives you. So you shouldn't walk around in guilt for things that you've done. You can make atonement for it. But then you'll find joy. You don't have to go around with a long face on. And there's a statue I have up above. I put a smile on Mary's face. I was repairing it. It was an inexpensive statue. The nose was chipped, and the sculpture was not all that good. I went to Gray's Anatomy and really did a long labor of love in making it beautiful. But I put a smile on her face. And the people that I did it for were part of a group, and they said, Mary shouldn't be smiling. And they gave me the statue. And they gave me another one repaired that didn't have an arm on. So I had to retach the arm, but they said, don't touch her face, George. Well, that was fine. That one was a bit better quality when it came to the face anyway. But when I put a smile on Mary's face when they gave me that, I started to write a song about if you had a son as good as Jesus, you'd be happy too. And Jesus brought Mary a great amount of joy, but also she felt very deeply the pain that he went through out of love for us. And again, today before I started doing what I call my rest home work, I stopped in a sanctuary where we say the rosary all the time. I had 2 roses. I asked God to bless them and bless the people that I was going to give them to. And I mentioned the lady that one of them was Ed and Chomp and unlisted. I called up her son to make arrangements where I would be able to see her. Then I went back to the other rest home, and another lady that I knew wasn't Chomp. It's the second time in about a month that she had been going back there. And so I brought her the rose instead, and we had a lovely visit. And I guess my day started right after the 10 o'clock Mass, and I didn't get out of Chomp till around 10 after 5, and I have a problem with my leg, and when you walk on hospital floors, they're hard, and it doesn't favor me. But today, I asked for a little relief from the pain, and I even forgot to take my pain pill this morning, but I had some discomfort, but not as crucial as it is sometimes, though in the evening kind of gets a little worse, but if had a busy day. But anyway, I'd like you all to pray for what is known as, we need more donors. We have people who are waiting for transplants. They're dying while they're waiting. and Sarah Murnaghan, her mother, focused some attention on that. And it's time that we think in terms of, there are other countries that have what is known as an opt-in that's part of the regular way. Everybody is a donor unless they decide to opt out. In America, we deal with a situation where everybody is opt out, so to speak. And those that want to can opt in, and they'll get their little pink dot on the driver's license, like I and many other people have. And the countries that have that, they have more organ donations. And I did a bit of writing about this on my homepage, and I've been writing about it for off and on for years, ever since I met Carly Metcalf. And there's a need that we change and reach out and help more people to live and love God and serve their fellow man. Well, good evening. Oh. I did want to tell you one thing. When I was working on the big painting of Mary, you'd not believe the time that I put in working on faces and doing Mary's face on a t-shirt that was not stretched. Right now I have so much paint on this that if somebody tried to stab me, they wouldn't be able to. It's almost bulletproof. And it reminds me of what Pope Francis said about when, I think, there's some people in church that did not like the fact that I brought out the fact that when Pope John Paul went to Our Lady of Fatima to celebrate the fact that he survived the shooting in Rome, that he was still alive, the Catholic priest, who was a member of the Pope Pius group, who did not accept Vatican II, they were having their own seminaries and very exclusive and very little room for love in everyone. And one of their priests tried to stab Pope John Paul on the altar, and they did draw blood, but he was stopped from doing more. But Pope Francis related back to Maggiore, and Pope John Paul felt that Maggiore was like a continuation of the message from Our Lady of Fatima. Now, this is the leader of the church, right? And he mentioned how when he was stabbed at Our Lady of Fatima, that Our Lady of Maggiore saved his life. And there are times when, a lot of times, I walk around and I feel protected. It's just I'm doing what I feel is the Lord's work, and sometimes when people interfere with that, or try to do me any form of injustice, call it karmic, or whatever you want, but strange things happen to them, and to their family at times, and I just, one of these days I might just go and pass on that. Well, that's fine, but the great number of people who are close to God are protected by God when they're doing His will. And when you look over in the Mideast and you look down to Brazil, where the young people are standing up against some of the corruption that's in the world, these are good people, and they do love God. They may practice a different religion than yours, but they have a wonderful relationship with God the Father. Well, good evening again.